Hello, third grade. You're about to read the second half of Elly's Secret, the story that you are in right now, and I hope you're finding it exciting. Wait until you read the next few pages. It's getting even more exciting. Luckily, God's going to take care of Elly and her family. Well, let's go through a couple more words that you're going to run into as you read. And so here's the first one right here. I tried to highlight it in green. I don't know if it shows up very well, but I'm splitting it into its syllable parts. It has a closed syllable, and a vowel team. Try reading that. Let's read it together. Avenue, avenue. Now an avenue, let me show you a picture. I didn't include it in here because I'm not sure if it should be pasted to my document because of copyright stuff. But let me just show you images of an avenue. Do you see what an avenue would be? It's a long road. Now I search for country avenues, but if I just put the word avenue in, I would have seen long roads with big buildings around it. Let's go back and read. Go ahead and read that sentence to yourself. Let's read it together. We drove down the long tree-lined avenue. Okay, very well done. Let's move on. The next one is a word that you would have no problem decoding. We just need to make sure we understand what it means. Okay, and so here we go. We have a closed syllable and we have an open syllable, and Y is going to say E, like it usually does at the end of words. Go ahead and try it yourself. Let's say it together. Clammy. Very good. Clammy. Clammy is unpleasantly moist, cool, and sticky. Like well, we're going to read a sentence that might help us know what this picture is here for. Unpleasant means we don't like it. We don't like the feeling of our hands being clammy, or after gym class or recess, sometimes you come in feeling and looking clammy, okay? Because here's another word that means very much the same thing. In this word, EA is saying eh. So read that. That says sweaty. That's right. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, and here's one more word actually that some of you might need to remember what this means. Have you ever felt this way? This is bossy R. And then remember I told you about OUS? That says us at the end of word, and it's an adjective. It helps describe someone or something. So try that one. That's right. That says nervous, nervous. And so you've probably felt nervous before. I wonder what you've been nervous about. Maybe you were nervous about a test. Maybe you were nervous about a storm. You know what? When you're nervous, you can talk to God about it and He'll help you. But let's see what the sentence says. Read it to yourself and then we'll read it together. Let's read it together. I was so nervous my hands were sweaty and clammy. If you ever have to do a speech or present a project, you might feel nervous like that. Oh, I know a time. Do you feel nervous when you get up to do the Christmas concert or a spring concert? Maybe you feel nervous then and maybe your hands get a little bit wet and sticky. I don't know. But again, when we feel nervous, God made it so that we know we're feeling nervous. But that just helps us to call on Him and ask Him to help us. All right, let's go on. Here we have this word right here that has a closed syllable, an open syllable, and a closed syllable. Why don't you try to read that? Now, when I separate this into syllables, this looks like a word that you know. And you could try that, but this is an open syllable, so O is going to say the long sound, its name. Let's try it together. Man Mandolin. Mandolin. Very good. Now, I was going to try to let you hear the sound of a mandolin. I searched that on YouTube, but the way this recording works, it won't pick up the sound. I can show you somebody playing it. I can hear the sound, but you can't. I hope that you will search together with your family the sound of a mandolin on YouTube. It is a lovely sound, but that's what a mandolin looks like. It's a small stringed instrument. Okay, so let's go on. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I need you to go ahead and read this sentence. Let's read it together. The singer strummed the mandolin as he sang an old song. Nicely done. All right, look at the next one. The next one I have split up already. Let me show you what it looks like together. Okay, there it is together. Now, when we split it up, we're going to know that this is an open syllable, right? I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. This is a closed syllable. But that means that the I is going to move on into the next syllable. But let's look at it together. What will happen to that G since there's an I standing next to it? Let's put that in orange so we can really see that. G is going to say J, right? So don't forget that, even though I'm going to move the I away. And I'm going to split it like this because I is going to be closed in its sound. There's a little bit going on with adding the MENT to the end of this and the derivative regime, and I'm not going to get into all of that right now. So let's just read it like this. All right, let's try it together. Regiment. Regiment. Very good. Now, what is a regiment? Well, a regiment is a group of soldiers. I have a definition for you right here. A group of soldiers that work together as a team. Okay, I like this picture, guys, because look at these people in the back. Is this from the Civil War era? These men are wearing blue uniforms just like the Union soldiers that are heading towards Elly and her family's house. Look at these guys in the back. They're not from the 1860s, are they? And let me tell you why. This is kind of cool. These days, even these days, groups of people, men and women, probably I think women too, I've only really heard of men, gather together and they dress up like the Union soldiers and like the soldiers of the Confederate Army that would wear gray, and they reenact. That means they kind of have a play about the real battles that happened during the Civil War. Some people just love to study about the Civil War time period, and they even like to get together and act it out. They dress up and act out the battles. Isn't that interesting? I actually know 2 family members on both sides of my family who have gone and acted out as soldiers. Okay, let's get back though to this particular sentence, and you read it and then I'll read it with you. Let's read it together. The soldiers' regiment was in charge of supplies. Very nice. All right, let's move on to the last one. Here in this last one, we have a base word, and then we have ed. That means it already happened. It's past tense. It happened in the past. So go ahead and read this. Let's read it together. Snarled. Now we know that ed says ed, d, and t. So you might have tried some of those. Snarled, snarled, snarled. And so probably you knew the right sound to put at the end. But now that you've heard it with me, that will Just double check that you knew the right sound for ed. Go ahead and read the sentence. Let's read it together. The dog snarled at the child who took his bone. Now, once you read that sentence, what do you think snarled might mean? Do you think the dog had its mouth open and was panting and hanging its tongue out and almost curling its mouth into a smile and wagging its tail? Or do you think that that's the opposite? That's not snarled, is it? Here's snarled. Oh, don't take a dog's bone or you're going to get that face, aren't you? When a dog snarls, you can see his teeth. Maybe I could have found a picture that showed his teeth a little better, but we can tell. I like this one. He's wrinkling up his nose and he's snarling. Can a person snarl? I wonder who in the story is going to be snarling. Is it going to be an animal or is it going to be a person? I'm going to tell you so that you can be looking for this. It's on page 32 near the bottom, and it says this: "Where are your mother's jewels?" the soldier snarled, shifting his rifle in his hands. Okay, so even people can snarl. They might not show their teeth, but they are not talking in a kind, happy voice. Their face kind of looks like this, wrinkled up like that dog's. We don't want to snarl at each other, boys and girls. That's not the way to speak. The Bible says, "Be ye kind one to another." And so that is not a sweet way to speak. All right, well, that is it for your vocabulary words. I hope you enjoy the next part of your story. And I know I did when I read it, and I hope that you do too. And we will be through it in a couple of days. So just enjoy it, and we'll talk later. Have a good day. Bye.